Hey everyone, good to have you here today. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to wherever you're at in the world. This is Viper Strike 95 here, and it's great to have you guys here. So we're back in the Philippines for one final stream over the Philippines for our journey today. So today's trip over the Philippines will be quite a special one, as this would be not only one of the longer legs of the flight, but this would be especially important as we will be flying through the last leg of the Philippines as we travel through the islands of the Luzon today. So it's great to have everyone here. I hope you've all had a great week so far. I mean, for me, I've had a great week so far. Just been doing a lot of the notes here for today's flight. But I'm going to go over the flight plan for this afternoon. I'm on the Southeast Asia server, so let's go ahead and make this map really big. So our flight plan today will be taking off here from Legazpi Airport. We get to see Mayon Volcano again. Then from here, we'll be traveling through across the Brigade Gulf, quite a few of the islands, into Luzon, and then we'll be making our first stop here at Ninoy Aquino International Airport, serving the iconic capital of the Philippines and one of the original world cities, Manila. Then from Manila, we'll be flying over downtown Manila. We might pass over Quezon City, which is the most populous city in the Philippines. Afterwards, we'll be flying quite a few of the valleys and hills, and make our stop here at San Fernando Community Airport. Um, at Romeo Papa Uniform Sierra. We'll be seeing quite a few of the Naval Air Station, home of the Philippine Air Force. And then from here, we'll be traveling through the Philippine coast. We might fly near to Vigan City, one of the a UNESCO World Heritage Site, one of the only few areas in the Philippines where the Spanish colonial stuff has been intact. Fly across the range, and we'll make our final stop here at Luang International Airport at Romeo Papa Lima, India, and this will conclude our journey in the Philippines today. And this would conclude our journey in the Philippines. So that would be for today's flight plan. It's great to have everyone here. So let's go ahead and show us what plane we're going to take this evening. And it's actually a new plane. This is going to be my first stream with this thing, but my first flight is going to actually be this thing. Yes, it's actually a Boeing, but not the Boeing you all know it is. This is actually the Boeing 247, designed by the good folks at Wing 42. You can get this for $20, which is an absolute bargain for all the systems in this plane are extremely well detailed, and it just flies really nicely. So a bit of background about this Boeing 247, by the way. This is actually considered by many to be the first modern airliner on the market. It was originally first flown in February 8, 1933. It is the first modern aircraft, including an all-metal semi-monocoque construction, fully cantilever rear wing, retractable landing gear, an autopilot, de-icing boots, and trim tabs. This Boeing was definitely iconic. Only 75 of them have ever been built, mainly used by the Boeing Air Transport. And they later became the United Airlines, one of the largest airlines in the U.S. This plane was powered by two Pratt & Whitney Wasp 9-cylinder engines, producing 500 horsepower each. This thing can go at a max speed of 170 knots, and it has a range of nearly 647 nautical miles, with a service ceiling of 25,400 feet, which is pretty nice, especially for a plane of that era. So pretty impressive to see here. Hey, Castella, good to have you here. So yeah, we're in the Philippines again. So this is what the cockpit looks like. And one of the things Wing 42 did really well was they wanted to make this plane feel like something out of the 1930s. So yeah, they're unlike other vintage plane things in the sim, you will see no GPS, no modern transponders, no nothing. They made this extremely realistic with the fuel gauges, all that, the discharge valves and all that. You even see up here a realistic radio station up there to do radio navigation. You can put this on your little nav map and you can do actual radio navigation like they did back in the day, which is extremely cool. And that was done by none other than Celestial Navigator. He did some amazing work with this. So let's go ahead and let's get this 247 started. Let's go ahead and let's look at this. So this is the 247. You can see performance and limitations. So these are your performance limitation stuff. Let's go next page. Let's make it so. And look at this. It actually has its own crew, and it can do tasks. You can do all the tasks and stuff, which is really, really cool. Okay, that looks good. Fuel looks good. Now, before we start, I'm going to go ahead and raise up the propeller lever. Hold the throttle up like this. Raise the mixture. Now we're going to put the wobble pump a few times. We're going to wobble pump this a few times. So we do like this. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to line up the flywheel. He's currently doing that. He's going to bring a ladder into the engine. Now right here, look at this. See this? He's actually doing the flywheel. So he's actually cranking this up. And then we can mesh the flywheel. He's continuing. He's going to wind up the next wing. So while he's doing that, we're going to look at the rest of the cabin, by the way. So look at this. Now, this is where the passengers would sit in the airliner. Pretty cool. You actually can see what the cabin looks like. The detail on this is crazy. And look at this. And look at this. You can enter into the bathroom with actual touchable things in the bathroom. Pretty cool stuff. There. Now that we entered the bathroom, the detail on this is crazy. And I think we can go, and we get this started. Everything looks good. Okay, that's it then for the 247. We're gonna remove, and okay, you're in the PC-12. Nice. And that should be everything. Okay, that's it. Now we got the 247 officially started. We'll pull on the brake, stow away the clipboard. I don't think we need that. We're gonna take off a runway 06. Oh, I think there was something I forgot. Yeah, remove the wheel chocks. Okay. So, for the altitude, for this first leg is going to be 3,000 feet. So we need to stay within 3,000 feet. I'm doing well, Costella. I got this fun the other day. I got this weekend. And I gotta tell you, this one's a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to tone down the application window because this thing can get quite noisy. 14% would be pretty good trim. Okay, now once we do the trim, we're going to go ahead and take off. Let me go ahead and do something first. General sound. Well, okay, that probably does much better. So we're going to go ahead and circle around and wait for Stella to get back in the air. Kind of crazy to think about. We should get... So let's go ahead and get this in the air pretty quickly. Yeah, unfortunately something's wrong with the gear. It's not really working. I'm trying to get the gear. Hey, Dougal McTavish. Good to have you here. Not hearing sim sounds at all. Yeah, I need to actually... I was adjusting the sim sounds, Dougal. I had to adjust the sounds because you could hear all the cockpit. And I didn't want that thing to be too loud. Hey, Airlock Doc as well. Good to have you here. So I'm flying the 247 right now, guys. My apologies. I was trying to get the I was trying to get this. Trying to get this. clock in the cockpit? I forgot to turn on the battery. My apologies. So, I hope you guys are doing well. So, okay, now everything's working the way it should. Maybe I could just also change the propellers a little bit. Not nearly make them nearly fast. So I hope you guys are doing well. So we're doing the final journey of our Philippine trip for Firefly Air. So I hope you're all doing well. So let me go ahead and show you the notes for today's flight. Let's start with the first thing going. This is the island of Luzon. Now Luzon, for those who want to know, Luzon is actually the largest and most populous island in the Philippines. And is the 15th largest in the world of all islands by land area. Located in the northern portion of the archipelago, it is the economic and political center of the country. After all, it's home to both the capital, Manila, and the most populous city, Quezon City. And its total population of the island is 53 million people as of 2015. It might be even more, which means it is actually the world's 4th most populous island. It's also one of the 3 primary island groups in the country. They include the mainland Luzon, which we're going to be flying over today, the Batanes, and the Babuang groups to the north, the Polio Islands to the east, and the outlying islands to the south. So the history of people in Luzon goes all the way back to the ancient times of the Negritos, which were the main people who inhabited the island before the Austronesians from Taiwan settled and displaced them. Some of these Austronesian people formed the highland civilizations, while others formed lowland coastal states. Highland civilizations were located in the mountains, for example. Just before 1000 CE, the Tagalon, Kapampangan, and the Pangasinan peoples of the south and central Luzon established several major cultural politics, most notably Manila, Tondo, and Namayan. The oldest known document was written in 900 AD. The Laguna copper plate inscription places names in and around the Manila Bay and mentions Medan, a place in Indonesia, as well. Then during the 1300s, during that time, the Javanese-centered Hindu empire of the Majapahit, which was throughout what would be now Indonesia, briefly ruled over the Luzon island, as recorded in the epic poem Nagara Kretagama, which stated that they had colonies in the Philippines at Saludon, which is Manila, and Sulut, Sulu. Eventually, these kingdoms regained independence after the Battle of Manila in 1365. As well. In the 1500s, people from the Luzon were called the Lusos, and they were called that by the Portuguese. Actually, they're the ones who call them that, and established many overseas communities in the Indo-Pacific, where they were actively employed in trading, seafaring, and military campaigns across Southeast Asia. What's that ticking sound? It is the clock. It's the clock in the cockpit. Yeah, it's the clock in the cockpit. I don't know how to turn it off, but... Yeah, it's a clock. Then, the Portuguese were the first explorers to record them as the Lusos. Edmund Roberts, who visited Luzon in the early 19th century, wrote that it was discovered in 1521, right where the Magellan expedition took place. Many people from the Luzon had active employment in Portuguese Malacca, which is, I believe, East Timor. Glucose, such as the Luzon spice magnate Regimo de Rama, was highly influential, and the Portuguese appointed him as Temagog, the Sea Lord, or Governor-Chief General responsible for overseeing the maritime trade. However, under Spanish rule, the area known as Luzon, instead, the Spanish broke up a lot of the kingdoms, established Las Islas Filipinas with the capital of Cebu, which was then moved to Manila following the defeat of the local Raja Suleiman in 1570. Under Spain, Luzon became known as Nueva Castilla, or New Castile. And in the Spanish times as well, Luzon became the focal point of trade between the Americas and Asia. The Manila galleons were constructed and brought silver from Peru and Mexico to Manila, which was used to purchase a lot of goods like Chinese silk, Indian gems, and Indonesian spices. So making this area a very important economic prosperity as well. Eventually, after many years of Spanish occupation resistance, the Andres Novales uprising occurred, inspired by the Latin Wars of appearance, and it was a pretty short-lived one, but it inspired a national identity in the Philippines. And eventually, all this led to the modern-day Philippine Revolution, which helped aid the Americans in the Spanish-American War. And then afterwards, the Philippines and Americans went at each other, which the Republic lost to the Americans. The Americans set up Baguio as a retreat, and the Americans rebuilt the capital of Manila as well. During World War II, the Philippines was extremely important strategically by the Japanese, and because of the Japanese capture, it was a huge threat to the U.S. And in 1942, the Japanese captured the island during their campaign to capture the Philippines. General MacArthur, who was in charge of the defense of the Philippines, was ordered back to Australia. And it took a few months, but MacArthur believed that recapturing the Philippines was extremely necessary. So in 1944, there was a campaign launched to recapture the Philippines, and one of the first places was the island of Leyte. And he would get his wish. After World War II, decolonization had to happen. Decolonization had to happen at some point, so on July 4th, 1946, the Philippines gained its independence, and as a result, Luzon became the most developed island in the Philippines. However, there's still a lot of poverty because of Ferdinand Marcos, and it gave rise to a lot of the Philippine diaspora, and that's why the Philippines have such a large overseas community, mainly in the US, Hong Kong, Singapore, and yes, Saudi Arabia. Eventually, Marcos was deposed in the People Power Revolution, and following the administrations are managing all the recovery of the Philippines, returning development back into the island once again. So that's a bit about the history of Luzon, the island. Just a bit about the history of the island group we're visiting today. So let's see who's flying with us today. So flying with us is Castella. She's in the TBM-9. In the TBM-9 as well. I apologize for the clock ticking, Google. I don't know what to do to get rid of the... Yeah, this plane sounds incredible. Incredible plane. Now I need to make sure I get back on course. Remember, this thing has no autopilot, so I need to put this thing. Yeah, this is a very nice plane. And I gotta say, I don't know why I didn't buy this earlier, but this is a really excellent plane. It sounds so great. It's fantastic, and there's so many things you could do with this thing. Like you could touch the doors, you could touch all the systems with this thing here. I also go to see if I can turn on. There's all your lights should be on. Yeah, I forgot to turn on the power switch. I'm still unfamiliar with it, but very, very stable plane. Let's see. Yeah, you can definitely see the engines on these things. It's So I'm going to go ahead and play some music as we fly the Boeing 247. Yeah, this thing's going to be a staple for me in this for flying. I think it's going to be my new vintage airliner of choice, especially when this thing's going to replace the Junkers. I mean, I love the J52, but I think it's time the Junkers gets replaced by this thing. Though I still will find a use for the Junkers. I think this thing is going to be the perfect replacement for me. So I want to make sure you guys are doing well yourselves. I hope you're doing well, Airlock. I'm gonna give a shout out to Airlock if he's still here in the chat. Airlock Doc. I don't think he's been streaming for a while, but he's really funny and entertaining. Such an entertaining guy to be around. So giving him a shout out. And even though he doesn't stream, I'm gonna give a shout out to Dougal for being always a very helpful person to be around. So that's why I wanted to give shout-outs to you guys. No problem. I think you'll earn those shout-outs. So I want to show you guys Firefly Air, if you guys never believe it. So here it is. Here it is. This is Firefly Air. Let me go back to this is Firefly Air, guys. So for guys who don't know, Firefly Air is the main virtual airline of the Two-Tone Murphy community, which I'm a part of as this is researcher. So this virtual airline is perfect for X-Plane, MSFS, and P3D. It's currently now the largest virtual airline on FS Hub. And what's great about FS Hub is it's all for free. You don't have to pay anything for this. So in order to join our amazing airline, you need to get the pilot application by having an account in FS Hub. Once you do that, download the linear rate monitor client. We do this. And that's for free. And then step 3, it depends on which platform you use. If you're on Microsoft, there's FSUIPC for Microsoft. But if you're using X-Plane, you have to download the XPUICE. But this is both of these are both affecting the UI system, which lets you get the running rates and everything. Once you get all those steps, you're safe to join Firefly Air. This is a great plane, but only Youngers has a skylight, true. Friends, oh, good to see you, my good friend. I hope you're doing well. Yes, I'm in the 247. This thing is awesome. I don't know why I didn't get this plane earlier. So this is Firefly Air. Currently we have 166 people. 166 people. It's crazy. All this since May. Yeah. We currently have a negative 269 feet per minute. Nice. Over 3,400 345 flights, nearly 3,450 flights, over 22,000 hours, 222,000 hours, and a distance of over 1,000,000 miles. That's insane. I mean, the guys at Firefly have made amazing progress. So you can see, we can see our entire pilots. So you see Murph as obviously the CEO. I'm the senior captain. I'm one of the highest people up there. I'm probably the second highest ranking person here because I'm obviously the pilot with the most miles. So you see all these people here. Some of these people I know quite well who have been streamers too. Gaharia is a streamer. She flies. Deke Decimus, Two Cats, Colonel Fork, myself, Airlock, myself. Allison's just gotten onto it as well. So quite a few really notable names. Also as well, I know we did this recently, but we now have also achievements you can unlock with Firefly Air, including our first event, crossing the Atlantic from Boston to Dublin. That was a pretty long trip. That took me, from our recent flights, 6 hours and 20 minutes. I landed at a negative 178, which is a really good landing. And you guys want to see the route? Here it is. I mean, look at the route. We flew from Boston, across through Halifax, into through St. John's, across the Atlantic, and then we make our approach from Ireland. See? And also just recently we got a couple more achievements relating to the D-Day events that happened on Monday. We flew through all three of the major D-Day sites. Just got pinged by a large bee. Oh no. Don't get stung, alright, Castella? Let me tell you, bee stings do hurt, by the way. Also, we have our airline radar. Let's see who else is flying with us today. So obviously, I'm stuck in the Philippines, pretty much obviously. We see Ironbird in the the F-18S, the Hornet. I see 6 knots is holding elsewhere. I see Deke Decimus is taking the Airbus A320 through Alaska. Alaska is a beautiful place to visit in this sim. Oh, it hurts. Oh no. Oh, I hope you're okay. I hope you're gonna be okay. Bee stings are not fun to get stung by. That's for sure. And then ailerons in the wind is flying the A320 as well. I mean, lots of flights in the Phoenix A320, a very popular airliner. So, and then finally on my end, let's go to my dashboard. Let's go to my public profile. So as you can see from here, I've flown 352 flights, negative 168 feet per minute, 250 total flight hours, and almost 100,000 miles, which is insane. I've completed many of the achievements in the FS Hub, and believe it or not, I actually flew through all 241 countries that you can fly here on FS Hub. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty nuts how much of I fly at the moment. It's pretty crazy. I'm probably the first one to fly over all 241 countries. It's pretty crazy. So that's going to be it for Firefly Air for a bit. Let's check on the back. Oh, there's Estelle with TEM 900. Good choice. You probably get there pretty quickly. So there you are, Costello. Yeah, look at the scenery. I mean, it's just gorgeous here in the Philippines. I think it's a really underrated country to visit in the sim. Very, very beautiful area to visit in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go over the second part of this leg's slideshow. So we all know basically, let's talk about the geography of the island. So Luzon is actually the largest island in the Philippines. Now, physically, the north part of the island, northern Luzon, is composed of the Cordillera Central Mountains in the Philippines, a big old mountain range. Is a mixture of tropical pine forest and montane rainforest, and it's home to the island's highest mountain, Mount Pulag, which is around 2,922 meters or over 9,600 feet. Central Luzon is known for its flat terrain, known as the Central Luzon Plain. And southern Luzon is home to a lot of lakes and such. Then we're going to talk about our first stop for a bit. This is Manila. Now, when people think of Manila, for those who don't know, is the capital of the Philippines and the second most populous city in the country, with a population of over 1 million people, 1,846,000 people. It is well known as one of the original global cities on the planet due to its commercial networks through Asia and the Americas, through the galleon trade. Also, the Manilas has the unfortunate distinction of being a very disaster-afflicted city. The second most, actually, of any capital city after Tokyo. And despite all this, it's one of the most populous and fast-growing cities in Southeast Asia. As well. It's a pretty important city in terms of the Philippines, and it's got so much history. In fact, the history of Manila goes all the way back to 3000 BC. Obviously, we've had the good old manuscript thing again, which is the Laguna copperplate inscription. Dates back to 900. But during the Song and Yang dynasties, Manila was a very active trade partner for those dynasties, and as a result, Tondo flourished. And it became a traditional capital of the empire, with the Philippines. In the 13th century, Manila was consisted of a fortified settlement and a trading corner on the shore of the Pasig River. It was then settled in the Indianized empire of the Majapahit in the epic Gilgit program of Nagarata Katakama, which describes the area's conquest by Raja Hayam Wuruk. However, Manila, Sulu, and Kaka gained independence from the Majapahits, and allowed the independence to happen for quite a bit earlier. And then on June 24, 1571, the Spanish conquistador Miguel Lopez de Legazpi arrived in Manila and declared it a new territory of New Spain, establishing a city council, what is now the district of Intramuros, and as a result, a lot of this area became Christianized as well, removing all the Islamic influence out of Manila. With the Spanish victorious over the local tribes, they established Manila as the capital of the Spanish East Indies and of the Philippines, where the empire would control for the next 3 centuries. Manila became very famous for its role in the Manila-Acapulco galleon trade, which lasted for more than 2 centuries, and it brought goods from Europe, Africa, and Hispanic America across the Pacific Islands to Southeast Asia. In fact, this trade part is what made a lot of the Spanish Empire pretty wealthy, and allowed a lot more trade of goods that previously would have never happened. However, the city was occupied by the British for 20 months from 1762 to 1764, but they could not fully capture the Spanish East Indies during that time. And then after Mexico gained independence from Spain in 1821, the Spanish controlled the territory fully. And under direct Spanish rule, banking, industry, and education flourished. And with the opening of the Suez, there was direct trading communication with Spain itself. With the growing education and wealth, it attracted lots of indigenous peoples, and more groups from the surrounding provinces into Manila, growing the culture of the city. Then we had the Philippine Revolution, which allowed Manila to be the first provinces to rebel and establish in the Philippine flag. However, after the Battle of Manila in 1898, Spain ceded the city to the United States, and as a result led to the American-Philippine War, which the Americans have won. Under American control, a new civilian insular government headed by William Howard Taft and allowed it to rebuild Manila to more modern needs, allowing it to allow the modernization of Manila. During the Japanese occupation of the Philippines, U.S. forces were have to withdraw from Manila, and they had to remove all the military installations on December 24th, 1941. General MacArthur declared Manila an open city to prevent death and destruction, but Japanese warplanes still bombed it, and on January 2nd, 1942, Manila was occupied by Japanese forces. 3 years later, from February 3rd to March 3rd, Manila was the site of one of the bloodiest battles in the entire Pacific theater. 100,000 civilians were killed in February, and at the end of the war, Manila suffered from heavy bombardment and became the second most destroyed city in the entire war. Yes, Manila was actually one of the most destroyed cities in the entire war. In fact, outside of Manila, the only other city outside of World War II that was more affected by Manila In fact, the most destroyed city was actually St. Lo, France, which was almost 100% destroyed. It was completely destroyed. And as a result, they had to reconstruct the entire city of Manila. With the Vizian board, Arsenio Leson as the first elected mayor, Manila went under the Golden Age, once earned the status as the Pearl of the Orient, which was the nickname of Manila nowadays. During the martial law era, it became a hotbed of Ferdinand Marcos. It became a hotbed of resistance activity as youth and student demonstrators repeatedly clashed with police. Eventually, when Marcos was stripped of power, Mel Lopez took over as the mayor of Manila, and he had to rebuild all of the treasury after, Marcos ripped all the money from the treasury. Eventually, a couple more leaders have changed hands in Manila, and as a result, Manila keeps growing, and most recently, in 2019, Isko Moreno is the mayor of Manila. So that is the brief history about the history of Manila. Now let's talk about a couple more things about the city itself. Manila is actually a planned city. In 1905, American architect and urban planner Daniel Burnham designed the new capital. It was based on the City of Beautiful movement, which featured broad streets and avenues. But one of the things that really sets Manila apart is the architecture. You see, because of all the diversity of the history, it has a large mix of architectural styles. However, since World War II happened, Manila was razed to the ground, and as a result, they had to rebuild all the stuff. Thankfully, most of the historical buildings were reconstructed, thankfully. However, some of the historic buildings were eradicated or deteriorated. And as a result, the current landscape of Manila is one of modern and contemporary architecture. One of its most famous landmarks was from the church of the 16th century. And then we get to the economy for a bit. So Manila's economy is the highest of the Philippines. It's a major center of commerce, banking, finance, transportation, tourism, media, and more. It's home to the largest port of the Philippines, the Port of Manila, making it a premier international shipping gateway to the country. It's also home to one of the oldest Chinatowns on Earth, Binondo. And it was the center of commerce and business activity in the city. Then there's the Viziora, the shopping mecca of the Philippines. And there's also lots of diverse manufacturers making all sorts of chemical, textiles, clothing, and electronic goods. And finally, Manila also serves as the headquarters of the Central Bank of the Philippines. Hey, all I know about Manila is that Muhammad Ali fought here. Yeah, Thrill in Manila. Yes, that's a very well-known boxing battle. He battled there in Manila. Absolutely. And then we get to one of the last slides of the Philippines before we get going is tourism. So tourism these days, Manila's growing in tourism. Over 1 million tourists each year visit Manila. But the major destinations include the historic walled city of Intramuros, which is a walled city, the cultural center of the Philippines complex, Manila Ocean Park, which is an oceanarium, the Manila Zoo, and Rizal Park, which is one of the largest urban parks in all Asia. In fact, Intramuros and Rizal Park are designated as flagship destinations here in the Philippines. So Rizal Park is the largest urban park in Asia with an area of 140 acres. And it was constructed in honor of the country's national hero, Jose Rizal. And then the walled city of Intramuros is the historic center of Manila back in the day. And it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It features two pretty well-known churches, the Manila Cathedral and the 18th century St. Augustine Church, which are both World Heritage Sites. And of course, it's also a pioneer for medical tourism. However, a lack of progressive health system has limited its growth. So that is all to need to know about the city of Manila, the capital of the Philippines. So definitely a city of rich culture and heritage. Really makes this a very important city in terms of Asia. Got to take a picture. There's Castella. There's Castella right ahead of me. I know I talked quite a bit for that leg, but I mean, Manila is such an important city, I have to talk about it. So there has been quite a few news that just happened the last couple days. So USAPR is with us in the P51GF, I believe. Yeah, there's USAPR. I see you there. Good to have you here. So the Kodiak just got an update a couple days ago. Deeper engine simulation. They fixed a few of the bugs. They also added some new stuff with engines, hot starts, engine failures, and everything to make the plane even more realistic. Good afternoon. Good to see you, USAPR-1. Yes, I'm in the Boeing 247. They also Orbex has come out with a new airport. Boise Airport is their newest airport that just came out from Orbex. Basically, for those who don't know, it's the busiest airport in the state of Idaho. It serves 26 non-stop destinations in the U.S. It's also a mixed civil-military airport because the 124 Fighter Wing of the U.S. Air Force operates here, which is A-10s. And it's priced for around $12 US. That just came out a couple of days ago. They also here's another huge news. So remember Flight Sim Expo? So it turns out that Flight Sim Expo is actually coming out in 2023. And it's going to be set up in Houston, Texas, at the Lone Star Flight Museum, which is going to be really cool. And I'm hoping to visit there next year. I hope I can make it though. But even though if I don't make it, at least I'll be registered for free, as I won the contest, the 2-tone Murphy landing contest overall. So I got free registration to the Flight Sim Expo event. So how cool would that be? Of course, registration doesn't start till I think November or December. I'm sorry if I can't stop this ticking, it's the clock. Hey team and Nathan, good to have you here. Yeah, it's good to have you here. I'm in the Boeing 247 from the 1930s. Really, really nice airliner. It's a really nice vintage airliner, and I think it's sorely been needed in the sim. We should be heading to, we should actually be, we'll be flying, I think later, further on ahead, we'll be flying through the largest lake in the Philippines, Laguna de Bay. We'll be heading there pretty shortly. So, yeah, I'm doing quite well. So, I'm on the final part of my Firefly Air journey. I'll be trying to get the Philippine Island hopping achievement. Hopefully get that done soon. Hey, Quart, good to have you here, Quart. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm on the last part of the Philippines journey. Today, I'm in the Boeing 247. This is a very nice airliner, vintage airliner from the 1930s. And I mean, for a price of $20, I mean, you can't beat it. It flies nice. It sounds amazing. The 247D it's a joy. I still need to get used to more of the systems and stuff, but I've been doing quite well myself. But yeah, you see all the switches. I mean, it's just so cool. You can touch so much stuff. Of course, I could turn on the failures. No autopilot. Yeah, there's no autopilot in this thing. The funny thing is, though, in real life, this plane actually did come in an autopilot. But I guess for this version of the sim, it didn't. Even though in real life, there are actually variants with autopilots. I don't know if they might add it in the future. I don't really know. Oh yeah, and one more thing actually too. Earlier today, Milviz for their porter, apparently they came out with their first photos of their steam gauges. The steam gauge one, stage 2. So that should definitely be pretty exciting. But here's the thing, this thing's smooth. The only thing you gotta do is like change it left or right just in case of the wind. But yeah, it flies super smooth. So, I hope you guys have had a great week. I mean, I'm really enjoying this week, and I can't wait. I can't wait to actually get started on the next journey. My next Wednesday journey will be through Japan. So we'll travel through the entire Japanese island. So we will be visiting quite a few major areas like Tokyo, Nagoya, Kobe, and Osaka, and more, which would be fantastic. And there would be lots of history about Japan we gotta talk about. Culture. Hey, Motor Room, how are we doing, sir? First time chat. Great to have you, Motor Room. It's great to have you here. So I'm doing a virtual airline flight. This is on FS Hub. This will be the last part of the journey. So we'll be doing that. So we're flying in the Philippines in the Boeing 247, a vintage airliner that came straight from the 1930s. So this would definitely be a very awesome flight. But yeah, I'm having a great time, Moto. If you guys haven't done so, check out the Discord. I have my Discord set up. It would be awesome if you guys can definitely check in on the Discord. So we're actually heading right now in. Yeah, it looks really relaxed. It does. It looks really relaxed and everything. I mean, the Boeing 247 is really stable. It's a nice plane to fly. And you can customize the 247 to whatever you want. For example, with this clipboard, I can actually change. I can actually turn on engine malfunctions, realistic engine start, or electrical failures to make this thing even more realistic. It's got like radio equipment, oil system, and more, which is fantastic. And also, Moto, since you're also first time, I do lots of research stuff. So we learned all about the places we fly. So earlier today, I talked about the city of Manila. So I talked all about the city of Manila, which is the capital of the Philippines. So I talked all about its history, its tourism, and everything. That way, flight simming and flying is not just more about just flying the planes, but flight sim brings so much opportunity to learn more about the world we're flying with today. So yeah, that's kind of how I fly. Nice and relaxed, and we not only enjoy the scenery, but we also enjoy learning about the places we fly. So we have USA PR1, Ian Swift, and Castella are in the air with us. It's great to have you guys in the air join with me today. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. How I like it. Yep, that's kind of like what I am too. I'm relaxed. I like to be relaxed and have a good flight. Talk about our stuff and interest, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's definitely the way that I like to do it. So coming up here, guys, is Laguna de Bay. This is the largest island in largest lake in the Philippines. It's translated to Laguna de Bay, or in Tagalog, which is based on the Filipino language, Lawag Bay. This freshwater lake has a surface area between 352 to 366 square miles. Its average depth is 9 feet 2 inches, or 2.8 meters. It is one of the only primary sources of freshwater fish in the country. Now, there have been some environmental issues like water from pollution and invasive species. Hey, Motowoom, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. Thanks for following the channel. So this kind of this lake is very important for waterways and such, including the Magagahan floodway, which serves as a reservoir. But the impact of this lake on culture is pretty important for all the communities that were raised up in the shores. activating a very beautiful lake. And the Philippines has so many cool little lakes as well. I mean, just look at the mountains here in the Philippines. Look how crazy it is up there in the Philippines. I mean, it's just this island nation is just unbelievable to fly in the sim. I definitely want to go back to the Philippines again for one of my other journeys. So, ahead of us, once we get past this lake, we'll be heading to Manila, the cultural capital of the Philippines, one of the most important cities in the region. However, once we land, I'm going to make it pretty quick. Like, I have no trouble flying autopilot planes. I've flown autopilot-less planes for quite a while. Heck, I did a whole journey from Berlin to Moscow without having to really use the autopilot very much in the Junkers. So let's open the fuse box. Yeah, it's your fuse box for your... But yeah, this thing can be remarkably stable too. Really nice. So yeah, I think this could be my one of my two bench airliners going forward, along with the Junkers, of course. I mean, the Junkers has been such a classic plane of mine. So we can definitely see some of the... Here's one of the islands, Talon Island, to our center. Definitely, this is a very stunning place. We have Switzerland, USAPR, and then Stroyjet is coming to join us today. I wonder who you might be. Strikved, I believe, is joining us today in the F-18. if you guys didn't see me on Sunday, so on Sunday, I did the whole city tour of Rome. I don't know how I managed to put nearly 2 hours in a city tour of Rome that featured all the Roman landmarks. It's crazy to think about how many crazy landmarks to visit in Rome. Thankfully, this weekend's trip is going to be much less busy, but it's also going to be pretty scenic in its own right, which is Salt Lake City, which means we can see the beautiful mountains of Salt Lake. Hey, what do you think about the H-Jet? Good question, USPR. I don't have the H-Jet yet, but I've heard I heard it's the best business jet we got in Sim so far. That's paid, at least. I know some people can state the the CJ4 working title is great, but in terms of payware, I think it's the best one. Plus, it's on Xbox too, which is a huge plus. So before we get going, there is one more thing for this leg we gotta talk about. And it is actually our international airport. This is Ninoy International Airport, located in Manila. It is the main international airport of the Philippines and the city itself. So this airport has been around for a long time. It's been around since 1948. It's the main hub for multiple Philippine airlines, but most notably Cebu Pacific and Philippine Airlines, the main flag carrier of the Philippines. Officially, it's the only airport serving the area right now, but in the future, there's going to be a new airport, being the new Manila Airport, which is located at Bulacan. And of course, they make a new airport, Sangley Point Airport. And after those two completions, Ninoy Aquino International is going to be a domestic airport for GA, maintenance, cargo, and more. So it's been around since 1948. In 2019, 47 million people flew to this airport, by the way. Also, according to this connection as well, so Manila International serves a lot of different destinations from around the planet. I have this website called Flight Connections. So from Manila, they do flights to the US, including New York, Toronto, from Canada, Vancouver, San Francisco, and LA. They fly from Honolulu, Tokyo, Seoul, Beijing, Australia, like Sydney and Melbourne, Jakarta, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok, Hanoi, even from the Middle East, like Dubai, Doha, and even Jeddah flies here, which is right near Mecca. And of course, the most European destination is Istanbul. Pretty cool stuff. Dougal says dinner's ready here. Have a great rest of the flight. You too, Dougal. I hope you enjoy a great dinner tonight. We'll be making our way into Manila. So we're going to land on runway 06. So we're going to land on runway 06. We'll get ready to actually land our airport today. The only gripe I heard about the HJet is some of the pro pilots feel like the nav system's imperfect. Yeah, but I know that the developers worked really, really hard on it. On bringing the plane into the sim and all that, and I know he's going to probably work that out. I know the one thing is, I know the fact that the HJet developer had to work this hard to even bring this thing to the sim in the first place. So we're going to reduce our engine power to pretty low. And we're going to deploy the plane here. Deploying landing here. So here it is, guys. Here's Manila. You can definitely see how urbanized the whole urban Manila really is. It's very, very built up. Metro Manila, by the way, is one of the 3 defined metropolitan areas in the Philippines. And its population is around 13,484,462 people, which makes it the second most populous, densely populated region in the Philippines. And it's actually the 9th most populous metropolitan area in Asia and the 5th most populous urban area on the planet. So this area is really populated to crap. Pretty crazy how built up. In fact, the only metropolitan area that had more people than Manila it's actually currently 4th. The only urban areas bigger than Manila are Tokyo in Japan, Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia, and Delhi in India. I mean, that's crazy. Manila has more people in its urban area than New York City, Sao Paulo, Seoul, Mumbai, Shanghai, and Mexico City. Pretty crazy. There are buildings everywhere. So guys, let's see how good I can make this landing here. Splasher 6, my good friend. Hey, good to have you. Oh, this could be a fun landing. Noises. That was a great landing. Beautiful landing at Manila International. Good to have you here, Splasher. Let me give him a shout out. Splasher 6 is a very close friend to the community, very friendly towards me. He's very close. He's been a huge help in almost all my streams as a mod. Just a great guy for the community. So definitely check out his channel. Splasher 6 makes some great flight sim content. I know that you're going to be heading to Greece next on Saturday. I'm going to go ahead and stop here for a bit and take a short break. Castell's on the ground. Nice. So yeah, I'm Splasher. I'm taking the Boeing 247. This thing is such a classic workhorse. So let's go ahead and see US APR trying to land this the P-51. I wonder how that's going to be while landing. That's going to be a pretty good test to see this land. I went with more live weather stuff just because I wanted to. I've been doing a lot of airline flights in real life weather, so trying to prepare for real life weather. Thanks for the shout out. The flight's going really well. I had some issues trying to work out the issues of the plane, but yeah, I've been doing quite well myself. Let's see US APR. Hey, Ewald, good to have you here. Howdy, Ewald. I hope you're doing well. So, I'm actually in Manila right now. Let's see. Come on, let's see if you can do this USAPR. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. Let's see it. Hey, you got it down. Oh, bounce. Oh, bounce. But hey, you got it down. Yeah, those old warbirds can be a little tricky to land. That's for sure. So that's it, guys. Now, let me get into the nav map. Give me to my route plan thing. Update my route plan. 2,500 feet. Actually, not 2,500. 2,000 feet. Okay, now we can get ready to get back started. I'm gonna head back off the taxi. Head back to the runway I took off. So we're going to go ahead and head back off. I wanted to take a short break just for a little bit to catch you guys landing. So we're going to head back through the taxiway. We're going to head back to runway 06. So the Boeing 247 is an absolute beast of a vintage airliner. It's a powerhouse. It goes to 25,000 feet. For me, this is like a step up from the Yonkers. And don't get me wrong, I still love the Yonkers to death, and I hope to still fly the Yonkers at some point. So, in, brakes. Yeah, there's just so many sounds in this thing. Like, I love the sounds on this. It makes you feel like it is a vintage airliner from the 1930s. So going ahead to get back into runway 06. The reason we're going back to the runway is we're going to take off and make our way down to San Fernando Airport, which is up here. This one will be about 132 nautical miles, give or take. So let's go ahead and get this thing in the air. Let's get the show on the road. clouds here. Like, live weather looks really, really nice. So yeah, we're gonna say goodbye. We're gonna go. I'm gonna circle around for a bit. So just circle around, make sure everyone's get back in the air. So this is Manila International. I mean, it's hard to believe that soon, when they completed the new airport and such, this is now going to be for general aviation. Pretty crazy to see, for the least. Pretty awesome. Okay. Just circle around the airport for a bit. Let's go on our merry way. Let's fly over downtown Manila. And fly around the port too. So this is downtown Manila. Now further ahead to our eastern side. So this is Manila to our left. So this is Manila. So here is Manila. Now, next to Manila is actually the most populous city in the Philippines. This is Quezon City, to our straight ahead of us. Actually, right turn. On our right is Quezon City. Quezon is actually the most populous city in the Philippines. So Quezon City was actually established much later than you think. The city itself was actually founded in 1939 on October 12th. It's named after Manuel L. Quezon, the second president of the Philippines. It was intended to be the national capital of the Philippines, and it was the capital of the Philippines from October 12th, 1949 to June 24th, 1976. Quezon is known for its culture, entertainment industry, and media, which is why the city is called the City of Stars, as major broadcast networks have made their home here in the city. This city was actually, the reason they wanted to create this city was because Manila during that time was overcrowded. There was a lot of housing, poor sanitation, and traffic congestion. And that's what led to the creation of the city. So that's Quezon City, that's the city next to Manila. I'll try to cook something, I'll be back. No worries, Costella. Some people are looking forward to the regional turboprops from Dash 7. Yes, Dash 7 is a plane I'm really looking forward to, is the Dash 7. Now here's the port of the Philippines to our left. So here's our port. This is the port of Manila. There's the Manila port in the Philippines. Yes, the Dash 7 is a plane I'm definitely wanting to get, a regional turboprop airliner. Dash 7 and Dash 8 would be fantastic to have as a regional turboprop. South 340 definitely is a good one I'm considering. And of course, Milviz is doing their ATR as well. So, like I said, there's a lot of turboprop airliners. I think the turboprop airliners are going to be a great transition from like GA to the commercial airline stuff. like you'll still have a lot of the FMCs and all that stuff from the modern airliners, but since it's turboprop, it'll be much easier to fly, and it'll be something that most people in the sim would be familiar with, more so than other. Yeah, I may get the ATR. So yeah, we're gonna be now flying through the plain of Luzon. So that's where we're gonna be flying. So we're gonna see some great blowouts flying right now. Yeah, you enjoyed the next-gen Embraer 110 Bandit. Sounds good. It's as good in linear version, but not cheap at 35. Yeah, exactly. It's a step up for the GA. That's why I'm waiting to get like the ATR and all that. I think for people who are wanting to get to airliners but are a little scared of flying the big jets, yeah, those regional prop liners are perfect for. They're perfect for it. So let's look outside for a bit. Switch what's here, just ST or KGB. Look at this down here. Now, $20. I'll probably ask you guys. What do you think those are used for, by the way? Okay. These areas right here is where a lot of the rice and stuff is made from the Central Luzon Plain. This is where they build a lot of rice paddies and stuff are built here for food. I did not join jetliners as they are systems management, not flying. Yeah, I can understand. That's why I'm also interested in the Dash 7. Yeah, and that's why I think the Dash 7 would be incredible for it. That's why I think Dash 7 would be incredible. 4 engine, but it would have a lot of the capabilities that the Twin Otter has. And if you know me, the Twin Otter is really, really good for the short landing stuff. Because while it does have an autopilot, the Twin Otter can do a lot of flying, and this plane very much is like that too. A lot of it is manual. That's why another really good plane to get is like the 146. The Just Flight 146 is really good for a lot of the same reasons. I think I see San Fernando. There's the big city, San Fernando. Though I can understand why you don't like flying the airliners. I used to think the same way until the freeware regional turboprops are fun to fly, but incomplete. Yeah. That's why I'm waiting for, like, I know Solo's doing an ATR, I know Milviz is doing one, Pilots and Civic Studios doing the Dash 7. I think Majestic's coming out with the Q800, the Q400 Dash 8. I think they said they're going to bring in the future, so like I said, regional turboprop liners I think are going to be pretty awesome to have. 34% on main, on the right main. Viper's correct. The BA-40, yeah, it's a great step up between the bigger, more modern turboliners, and yeah, exactly. Because the thing about the Just Flight 146 is, yes, there's autopilot systems like the normal planes, but you can manage the throttles, and you have to manage the throttles manually, for example. So you have to manually manage the throttle. You would have to manage your own air brakes and speed. Those are other stuff that will allow you to fly, but it's still an airliner. Exactly. It seems like I'll eventually settle into these planes, the biz jets and regional turboprops. Yeah. Like, there's certain planes that I'm more settling into. For me, I think GA, mainly the planes, I think mainly the I've mostly settled into either the bush planes or into airliners. I'm more settling, like, mainly Boeings. So expect me to fly, like, all sorts of vintage airliners. But I sell to nearly anything GA. But I'm going to be creative about it. What's this? Actually, there is a sunroof. Yeah, that's why to me the Dash 7 would be a really good thing to have. Oh, you do have a moonroof, yes. Now, obviously, it's not like the Yonkers. You would have. It doesn't stay open. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does have a moonroof. Oh. I accidentally touched something and it went nearly me. Yes, this thing does have a moonroof. It also has a radio frequency thing, apparently. So the airport we're going to be landing to is San Fernando Airport. It's a community-owned airport. Hey, Sponsor 6. I'm late to the party, but I just got the Cessna's Chancellor. Oh, the 414. Oh, you actually got it. Really nice in beta, yeah. Yeah, Murph really likes that plane. I think Murph and a few people really like the Cessna 414. I'm not getting it, though, for 50 bucks. I mean, I'm not really interested in a twin-engine Cessna. And I mean, though I know that the 414 is an extremely impressive plane. But for 40 bucks, I just think I'd rather just save the money and get another plane. Like maybe for 40 bucks, I could get like the Milviz ATR 72-600. Or I could get for that 40 bucks, I could probably get the Milviz 310 for 40. So yeah, we're currently on our second to final leg in the Philippines. so basically, some really cool information. So, if you guys check out my Discord, by the way, I'll probably post the link for PDF. Actually, go ahead and do this. Just removed the Alpha Bravo from my desk for the first time in months. Need to clean up a little and stretch out. Yeah, I kind of feel ya. Sometimes I have to clean some stuff up too. If 414 works well for my next phase of On Air. Yeah, I just saw you. I think you're working with Angry One Horns Airline. Angry One Horns Airline is what you're working with right now. So yeah, it's a great fit. Let's get back outside to the, we see Switzerland in the TVM. Here we go, guys. If you go check out my Discord, on the general chat section for chats, it should be Viper slideshows. It's actually a compressed PDF it's my compressed PDF for the slideshow for our entire journey today. Not yet with Angry One Horn. Still flying my own. Maybe in the future with Angry One Horn, but he's helping me a lot. Yeah, on-air can be kind of tricky to understand at first glance. I know he's worked a lot in helping you out. So yeah, I got the slideshows posted for you guys. So that's for the Firefly Air stuff. If you want me to, I could actually I can actually compress more of the PDFs. And start compressing more PDFs. So on-air is very deep. It actually is, from what I know. Let's see other slideshows that I could probably work. Yeah, maybe a lot of my city tour stuff I can mention. Lots of clouds here, but you know, it's to be expected from live weather. But definitely a very beautiful journey here. What a great way to end the Philippines trip. So yeah, I'm going to post more of these compressed slideshows. But these are some of my slideshows are already, because I know Frontal wants them all downloadable. So as soon as I get them done, I'll get them uploaded to Discord. Maybe from one of my new propositions is to interact more with this Discord. So let's see. Let's check our fuel. Because if I have to, I can switch my fuel too. Right auxiliary. Amazing how fast we're flying through all of this area. Pretty crazy to see how much of it. Man, this reminds me of the Yonkers J52 flights I used to do. Back when I flew, if you guys remember, I used to fly through all of Russia in the Yonkers, all the way through Russia into pretty crazy stuff. Man, that takes me way back. Nice and peaceful today. So I want to know what's going on this week. So this week, there has, for Mer's channel at least, I think he's doing more of the news for today. Let's see what his announcements. Okay, we don't know if Murph's streaming or not today. I know his son's going to primary school, so if Murph's not out around 3, we're gonna have to find someone else to raid. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about the slide for this particular leg. This is San Fernando Airport, where we're going to be heading up to next. So San Fernando Airport is a community airport serving the San Fernando area. It was extensively used as a land strip by American forces when Wallace Air Station was still in operation around here. Currently, no airlines have been flying through the strip, though. Now, a bit of background about the Wallace Air Station. It was originally land for it was originally acquired in 1903 for the U.S. Cavalry. During World War II, as part of the 848th Air Control Squadron. And then it was transferred to the Philippine Navy in 1991, and it became the headquarters for the Northern Luzon Naval Forces of the Philippine Navy. So there is there is San Fernando Airport. Hey, just look at this. This is just stunning. What a stunning water cruise. So, a bit of background about the Philippine Navy. In Filipino, the Philippine Navy is Hukbong Dagat ni Pilipinas, Sea Army of the Philippines. It was founded in May 20th, 1898, with 24,500 current active personnel, including 8,300 Philippine Marines, 15,000 reserve personnel, 82 vessels, combat vessels, 14 auxiliary vessels, 25 manned aircraft, and 8 UAVs. They fought in many engagements, including World War II, the Korean War, in Vietnam. Currently, the Philippine Navy is operating quite a few ships, 2 frigates, currently 1 corvette so far, 3 littoral vessels, and 18 fast attack aircrafts, and some of their naval planes for the Philippines for the Navy. They mainly consist of the Beechcraft King Air, the B-2 Islander, the A-159 Wildcat, the Augusta AW-109, and even the Cessna 172 is a trainer. Man, what a stunning scene. Look at this. We found the Cordelia Mountains to our right. You see quite a few of the mountains to our right. This should be very nice. Oh, Murph just posted the news earlier. Weird. This is just stunning here in the Philippines. This area is such a beautiful area. Definitely much better than staring at Russia for most of my journey in the Junkers. So we should be getting pretty close to the airport, actually. I think. See, there's the airport further ahead. So further ahead right here is the airport. We should be getting there pretty shortly. So we're almost there. So I think you guys can make your landing predictions here. Let's make our landing predictions. So we can make our landing predictions for this one. There's Storkvad, and he's still with us here. There's our airport right over here. Getting ready for landing number 2 for today. We'll do a short landing and then we'll just take right back off and complete the rest of the achievement. This one's about 96 nautical miles away. Let's see if we can make this landing pretty nice. Pretty nice landing. So let's see what we can do. Achievement to count, and then we'll get back off. Okay, and our max altitude for this one is going to be 1,500 feet, and we're just going to go straight across. I'm ready to get going. Yes, we're gonna get back in the air. Circle around, you guys. Get ready for our new. This will be the last leg of the trip. Careful not to run over any buildings. So we're gonna fly over to San Fernando Military Station. Across from here. Whoa. This area is just stunning. I think I know what would make it even better. Yeah, sunset. That was much better. Build altitude. So let's go ahead and get our final leg completed. Let's go 11 degrees. So, there we go, guys. And now let's go ahead and complete the last of the slideshow notes for today. So, first we're going to fly by a city known as Vigan. We're going to pass over Vigan City today. This is during our leg of the trip. So what's Vigan City, actually? So Vigan is actually a city in northwest of the Philippines. It's the capital of the province of Ilocos Sur, with 53,935 people. It is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site, believe it or not. This entire city is a heritage site. And the reason is, it's one of the few Spanish colonial towns still left in the Philippines, whose old structures remained actually intact, and is known for its set pavements and the unique architecture of the Spanish-Philippines colonial era, which fuses the native Philippine and Oriental building designs and construction with Spanish architecture. This thing is even one of the new 7 wonder cities in the world, along with Beirut, Doha, Durban in South Africa, Havana, Kuala Lumpur, and La Paz. This city itself was founded in 1572 and became a city in 2001. And it is quite a popular tourist area in the Philippines, particularly the Calle Cristiago, the old quarters, and the National Museum of the Philippines is located here on the island. Yeah, a beautiful city. So Switzerland is still here, Castell is still here. At the airport, yep. We're making our way to our final stop. Romeo Papa Lima, India. We're going to make our final journey. Just flying through at 1,500 feet. It's just stunning here. I mean, for the past 4 weeks, the Philippines were absolutely stunning area. The mountains, the cultures, the bays. It just gives the Philippines something truly unique in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I'd definitely like to fly this area much. So I hope you guys are going to have a great rest of the week. I hope you have big plans coming up for the rest of the week. Hey, Celestial Navigator, good to have you here, Celestial Navigator. Yeah, I'm flying this, the 247. This thing has been amazing so far. So we're going to complete the last of the Philippines tour. The 247's gone along great. I managed to get everything started and everything. I managed to get started and everything working. I haven't turned on any of the failures yet. I'm still getting used to this plane. But so far, it's been flying amazingly well. It's just smooth, easy to fly plane. It's just fantastic. So for guys who don't know, Celestial Navigator, he worked on a lot of the radio navigation systems for this plane. There's an Easter egg you can do to find the radio stations for a lot of the radio stuff. So you can it's an Easter egg that lets you play classic music from the time period. It's really nice. He also works for he also created the Celestial Navigation Sectant, so allowing you to do celestial navigation. And that's what Allison Johnson and Captain Rash used for the Amelia Earhart flight. So yeah, the 247 is going really, really well. Don't light. Yeah, she's a beautiful bird. Okay, switching to right main tank. Switching to the right tanks. So I can complete the rest of the journey on the rights. You're cruising very fast with the religion on you being in trouble. Yeah. Almost killed him. You're cruising very fast. Yeah. That's the thing though, I don't have to turn on the engine failures. Yeah, with engine failures on, that's the thing though, I turn off the failures by, default. I don't fly with the engine failures, though. I just like to have cruise and have a good time flying. That being said, if I did want to turn on the failures at some point, I would. I just feel like today I want to be a nice, relaxing flight. That's why. Yeah, but I love the sounds of this thing. Just such a good sound. Try to reduce the propeller arc. Just try to reduce the RPM a little bit. So right here, we should be getting to Vigan City. Located it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so full of lots of... Hey, see you later there, Costella. Thanks for coming by and flying with me today, Costella. I hope to see you soon. So take care and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Have a great end of the flight. I will have a fantastic end of the flight. The Philippines is just stunning. It's such a great area to fly over in the sim. Yeah, it makes me not... I can't wait to do the Japanese flight, which would be fantastic. To fly over all of Japan. So that would be one major achievement down once I get landed here. We're about 50 nautical miles from our destination. Went through this pretty quickly. Stunning. So, now let's go ahead. I'm going to talk about the rest of the PowerPoint. Let's talk about some of the other PowerPoint stuff for the slideshow. Let's finish off the slideshow for a bit. So, let's talk about the culture of the Philippines, shall we? So, for the culture of the Philippines, this country is rich in culture. After all, Philippines is one of the most diverse countries in all of Southeast Asia. So, its culture is extremely rich. It combines this. And even despite all the influences from the Islamic region, Spanish influence, and even the the Philippines still have their own national identity. And of course, for example, one of the most lasting Hispanic legacies is the Spanish names among Filipinos is often Spanish. There's also a very unique American influence in their culture, particularly is for pop culture. A lot of the Philippine society is very attracted to pop cultural trends from the U.S., including fast food and American film and music. But American fast food chains have not been really popular, as there's two particular chains. First is Goldilocks Bake Shop, a bakery chain that's very popular in the Philippines. The other is Jollibee, very, very well known for its fast food place. There's also lots of festivals from the Philippines as well. So there's all that too. Another thing that really makes the Philippines unique is its set of values and cultures. The values of the Philippines is rooted in personal alliance systems like kinship, obligation, friendship, religion, and commercial relationships. They are, for the most part, centered around social harmony, motivated primarily to be the desire to be accepted within a group, and a main sanction against those divergent from those values are the concept of haya, roughly translated to as shame, and amor proprio, or self-esteem. Other values in the value system include optimism of the future, pessimism about present situation events, concern and care for other people, and more. And this allows the Philippine society to have their behavior and such. Pretty cool thing. We just right past here is Vigan City. We just passed over that. There's Vigan City. Let's go ahead and finish the rest of the PowerPoint. Let's finish the rest of the slides, shall we? Next one is going to be the cuisine of the Philippines. So Filipino cuisine definitely is very interesting. It is one of the most diverse cuisines you can find on the planet. For one, it's got not only the indigenous Filipino cuisine, but also food from the Austronesians, from Malaysia and Indonesia, mixed culture of Chinese, Spanish, and American influences, with their own indigenous ingredients and such. This gives the Philippine cuisine extremely rich depth. And their dishes can range from simple foods like meal, salted fish and rice, to paellas and chorizos of Iberian origin. They also include, other popular dishes include lechon, whole roasted pig, Philippine sausage, torta omelette, adobo, chicken and pork or beef raised in garlic vinegar and soy sauce, and much more. And they have lots of different foods and all that too. And that means the Philippines have extremely rich cuisine as well. It's a lot, I mean, it's a very, very unique. It's where East meets West. That's the Philippine cuisine. Fast food is kind of a big deal. Desserts, regional specialties, like Philippine cuisine is rich in uniqueness. The next is going to be sports. So sports in the Philippines are very important for the Philippines. But one of the most unique things about the Philippines as well, believe it or not, their most popular sport is actually basketball. It's played since both amateur and professional levels, and it's the most popular sport here in the Philippines. In addition to basketball, other major sports include tennis, boxing, football, billiards, and volleyball. In fact, the Philippines Basketball Association is one of the oldest professional basketball leagues in the world. Only the NBA in the US is older. In addition, the Philippines have also participated in all editions of the Olympics except 1980, and they actually didn't win their first gold medal until the 2020 Summer Olympics this past year. Was the first time the Philippines ever won a gold medal under weightlifter Hidden Diaz. In addition, another very famous athlete from the Philippines also came around. His name is Manny Pacquiao. The world famous boxer and one of the greatest boxers in the world. If not one of the great boxers of the time. The Filipino language is an Austronesian language. It's related to Tagalog, which is a standardized variety of the Tagalog language. And like other Austronesian languages, it uses a verb, subject, object order, but can also use the other way around too. It's one of the two official languages in the Philippines, with English being the other, and it's the national language. So if you're heading to the Philippines, some of the words and phrases to learn while visiting include musta, hello, magandang, umaga, good morning, and salamat, thank you. These are some important terms you might want to learn in the Philippines to learn. So there's that. And then we're finally approaching to Laoyang. So Laoyang is a first-class component city and capital of Locos Norte. It often faces a lot of the typhoons from May to October. And recently, tourism has been a major driver of the city, paving the way for new commercial investments in infrastructure development here. And then our final thing is going to be its international airport. It is the main airport serving the area, and it's the only airport in the entire province, and it's the northmost international airport here in the Philippines. It currently has a single 2,784 meter long runway with 45 meters of width, 2 taxiways, and an apron to handling of fixed-wing aircraft. So that's going to be it. That's the last part of the slideshow of the Philippines trip. I mean, this is just unbelievable. Between the mountains and everything, it's just a stunning backdrop. So yeah, I guess we're nearly there. We're gonna go ahead and do some predictions for the landing. So about Filipino cuisine, their major fast food is Jollibee. Jollibee is for the Philippines what McDonald's is to the US. Over 1,500 Jollibee outlets are around worldwide, mainly in Southeast Asia, Middle East, East Asia, North America, and Europe. It was founded in January 1978, 44 years ago. It was founded by Tony Tom Cactiong. And basically, Jollibee has a lot of American influence items, as well as the casual Filipino food. And their two signature products are the Chicken Joy, which is crispy fried chicken with it can be served with rice and gravy, butter corn, or spaghetti, and the Yum Burger, which is their signature products. It has been there since the original. Man, this is just crazy. What a crazy way to end this amazing. Yeah, this is live weather, by the way, Celestial Nav, but the clouds look fantastic. The clouds look amazing for the flight today. Thankfully, the clouds weren't a really big issue for today's flight. So let's see where we can find our airport. Our airport has to be around here somewhere. I guess I gotta turn on the lane lights. Lane lights on. Yeah, it's just beautiful here. Yeah, I love this place so much. It's another fantastic Boeing for the hangar. I always love flying Boeing, so this is just perfect. I think that's the airport. I'm gonna go ahead and start descending a little bit. Power. Oh, there's the airport. what a beautiful way to end this Philippines trip. Go ahead and turn. Oh boy. Oh boy. This isn't good. My landing gear is down. Yeah, the gear isn't retracting. I have to go around. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, the land gear isn't coming down. Oh. Hand cricket needs more movement. Okay. There she goes. Okay. Thanks, Celestial Navigator. Yeah, this point could still be a little handful if you don't know what to do, if you're not knowing what you're doing. Thanks so much. More. Really? Check the gauge. It's about the CHT gauge. The undercarriage position. Got it. I now see it. Lisa. I still got this plane recently, so I'm still need some time to learn. Let's see if we can make this landing. Should be good. And oh, look at that! Let's get to the taxiway and find a parking spot and park. That was a butter landing there. That was butter. That was butter. Nice. Done. Yeah, this is around, yeah, even better with the pull down locked. Well, guys, I gotta say, that was a fantastic journey, guys. That was an amazing journey. I gotta say. This was awesome. Flying around in the Philippines, what a journey that had to be. Get to see everything this beautiful island nation has to offer. Yeah, this 247 is a beast. And we're going to make a parking. Let's make parking right. Man, guys, I gotta say. And we can make our stop here. Man, what a way to end this absolutely incredible journey today. So, man, I gotta say, I'm really happy for this journey. What a fantastic journey as well. So, the Philippines, what a stunning island. Those group of islands were really beautiful, and good news, everyone. We finally completed the journey. All 9 legs have been completed in 4 streams. Just incredible, guys. This has been an amazing journey from beginning to end. I gotta say, guys, thank you so much for this journey. And that's now yet another achievement for me. So let me guys show you what we're going to be doing starting on next Wednesday. So next Wednesday, we will explore the beauty of Japan. That is where we're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks. Exploring the Japanese homeland. We will be splitting this up. 10 legs. We'll be splitting up to a 5-week journey across Japan. It would be absolutely stunning. We'll be flying, of course, as usual, GA airplanes all the way for this journey. Flying through some iconic cities and landmarks. So, man, this would be an incredible journey. And here's what this journey would look like on I Shall Return. Yes. So this is where we're going to be doing for the next 5 weeks afterwards. Flying through from all the way from Ozora, Japan, all the way down through Sendai, Tokyo, Kobe, Osaka, near Hiroshima, all the way Kumamoto, and then all the way down to Kagoshima. So yeah, this one is going to be an incredible journey in GA planes. So guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone here who's been here, stuck with me since the start of this journey. I want to thank all of you guys so much for this incredible Philippine island tour of one of the world's most underappreciated countries on the planet. So the question is who are we going to raid? I'm gonna have to look up for someone we're gonna raid. Let's see. Let's see. Who are we gonna see? Let's see if I don't think Mert's gonna be raiding. Let's see. 757 Spy, Sim Caesar, O Can Do. Um, actually, I think I know what we're gonna be raiding for today. I think we are going to raid. We're gonna go raid 757 Spy. So we're gonna go raid his channel for today. So we're gonna raid 757 Spy. He's currently gonna fly the Boeing 737. An amazing plane. If you guys don't know about 757 Spy, really awesome. He does a lot of the airliner stuff, but he's been doing right now some cargo delivering to Luxembourg today. So let's go check out 757 Spy's channel. So I want to say a massive thank you for everyone here on today's trip. Seriously, you guys have been a massive blessing to me. So I hope to see you next Wednesday in the Philippines, in Japan, and on Sunday we'll be traveling to Salt Lake City, Utah. So take care, everyone. Viper Strike 95 will be signing off. Take care, everyone. See you on Sunday. Bye.